The area of literacy which this analysis focuses on is comprehension. This analysis focuses on the program's Deep Study of Character unit. This is the first of 9 units that span the course of ELA instruction in grades 6 through 8. Although this analysis centers around the introductory unit, the reading workshop model utilized in this unit is used throughout the following 8 units of study. This unit serves as a primer for the expectations and responsibilities of the workshop model in grades 6 through 8. A prominent theoretical framework featured in the TCRWP units of study and reading is whole language theory. Bergeron notes that whole language theory includes the use of real literature and writing in the context of meaningful, functional, and cooperative experiences in order to develop students' motivation and interest in the process of learning. The units of study embody this theory as they rely on literacy-rich classroom environments to provide a space for students to build intrinsic motivation for literacy experiences. Classroom libraries serve as a community space where students discuss, share, and work together during extended literacy blocks and in book clubs. Classroom libraries are a central tenet of the TCRWP units of study, which suggest organizing libraries into high-interest fiction and nonfiction books and individual shelves, which are related by theme or genre and will be utilized during book clubs. Another principle of the whole language approach featured in the units of study is the concept that reading is a natural process. Tracy and Morrow note that through the use of high-quality literacy environment, authentic literacy experiences, and high-quality literature, students will naturally learn to read much in the same way they acquire oral language. This natural process of learning is achieved through the use of many instructional strategies, which include an active social learning experience, thematic instruction, use of a variety of grouping strategies, and large blocks of time for integrated literacy activities. The TCRWP units of study utilize the principles of social constructivism. Through the use of a variety of grouping strategies, students are able to practice both written and oral reading strategies in a social setting. Students work towards building independence in skills and strategies in book clubs and small, whole, and one-on-one discussion settings. Groups remain flexible, and as students become more skilled, they will work with students who continually provide the zone of proximal development for them. Reading instruction is an active participatory space where students are provided with ample opportunities to speak with their peers and receive scaffolded instruction from their teacher. Behaviorism theory is also featured in the TCRWP units of study. Direct instruction is used as a foundational form of teaching instruction. The program utilizes the mini-lesson model in which teachers introduce new learning concepts, model their use, and provide students opportunities to develop the new knowledge in guided practice. Reading teachers utilize the sequence of skills and strategies dictated in the units of study, assess student knowledge before proceeding to higher level skill instruction.
The units of study for teaching reading, a curriculum developed by the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project, follows a whole-to-part workshop model. Teachers are encouraged to set up the classroom as a rich literacy environment with large blocks of time for the reading workshop and a safe space for students to have many opportunities to talk about texts. Often, book clubs are structured into the units so that students can discuss the books they are reading. Book clubs are one way that students can engage in high-quality discussions of the meaning and interpretation of the text as a way to improve comprehension, as recommended by Camo 2008. In the Deep Study of Character unit, students work with a partner to analyze character traits while reading the same book or book from a similar genre. Like book clubs, these courses of study offer students ample opportunities to talk about books. Explicit instruction is provided through demonstration of a teaching point and a mini-lesson at the beginning of the workshop each day. Teachers gradually release responsibility to students by engaging in think-alouds to explain and model their own thought processes. Students first learn from demonstration, then from guided practice with a partner, and then transfer what they have learned to another text during independent reading time. In addition to providing explicit instruction in the whole class mini-lesson, the teacher can also tailor instruction to match the needs of individual students through conferencing. While students are reading independently, the teacher can meet with individual students to provide feedback on their independent work. Typically, the lessons in each unit are organized into several sections, or bends. It is common to anchor each bend by starting off with an interactive read-aloud of mentor texts. These mentor texts are used to teach skills and strategies throughout the unit. The skills that are taught are closely related to the genre the students are reading. For example, in the Deep Study of Character unit, students learn to make inferences about characters and learn to identify themes while reading fictional novels from the classroom library. In this unit, teachers read 2 short stories, Popularity and the Fight by Adam Bagdasarian, as mentor texts that show the development of the same character over several years. The turn and talk practice is one way that the units of study curriculum promotes agency in student learning. There is an active engagement component built into every lesson, where students try out a skill with a partner for guided practice. According to Almacy and Hart, guided practice should be structured in a way that will lead to transfer of knowledge in other contexts, meaning that teachers should provide opportunities for student verbalization of concepts that lead to agency. Another practice employed often during read-alouds is the stop and jot routine. When reading a story, the teacher stops periodically at points that are thought-provoking and asks students to stop and jot their thinking in their notebooks. Johnston 2004 showed that teachers foster agency by providing opportunities for students to stop and talk about their thinking. Also, metacognitive awareness is developed in students when they are encouraged to verbalize their thought processes with a partner as active participants in their learning. The repertoire read-aloud is another best practice typically utilized at the end of a unit. It represents an example of the transformational view of comprehension, as described by Almacy and Hart 2018, whereby students are empowered in the decision-making process about what strategies should be used while reading. Motivation is fostered through the practice of allowing students to choose the books they want to read based on their interest and reading level. A large classroom library is provided with the program so that students have access to high-quality, authentic literature. Gibson 2013 argues that students are more motivated to learn if their interests are taken into consideration. There are a few recommendations made in the teacher materials for scaffolding. One is the practice of small group strategy sessions held during independent reading time with students who need additional support with the strategy. Calkins 2017 suggests that teachers progress from heavy scaffolding to providing light scaffolding as learners become more proficient in the skill being taught. Another way that the program offers scaffolding is through the use of alternative texts. Students are sometimes given other types of text to practice a skill before trying it with more complex text. For example, in the Deep Study of Character unit, students practice identifying themes in a Taylor Swift music video and character traits in the Harry Potter video clip.
Geneva Gay posits that culturally responsive teaching provides historically marginalized students with the opportunity to learn through their cultural frame of reference. Cultural heritages and background experiences are incorporated into classroom curriculums in order to teach marginalized students in a much more effective way. Although the authors of the units of studies have noted their efforts to include a variety of different voices in their classroom library selections, the overall perspective of the units of studies remains unabashedly white and middle class. One striking example of this is in the cultural makeup of the program's authors. Although the units of studies are purchased and taught in diverse classrooms throughout the United States and across the world, the TCRWP authors do not represent the diversity of any such classroom. In culturally responsive teaching pedagogy, the essential aim is to empower ethnically diverse students. Gay further notes that knowledge in the form of curriculum content is central to this empowerment. The units of studies, as designed, do not adequately serve as empowering pieces of literature. The majority of the students in which this analysis was considered were from diverse or historically marginalized backgrounds. However, the characters in a majority of the stories that they read or white and middle class. The failure to represent diversity in selected readings can have detrimental effects on students' cultural identities and overall success in school. Littleton Billing notes that students are still capable of succeeding, but they often must sacrifice their cultural identities or attachments to do so. The underrepresentation of minority students in selected readings is one of the TCRWP units of study's most dramatic failures. Underrepresentation suggests that the authors have a deficit-thinking notion of student achievement and subscribe to a paternalistic approach to the teaching of literacy.
Overall, the units of study for reading is strong and best practices for comprehension and meaning making. According to Mata et al., the NAEP suggests that a complete reading program includes instruction and comprehension. A strength of the program is the agency and motivation it promotes through student choice of authentic literature and ample opportunities for extended discussion of text meaning and interpretation. Even so, Kamel 2008 found only moderate evidence of reading achievement when using these practices with older students. Although the units of study do have a focus on comprehension and meaning making, there isn't enough explicit instruction on comprehension strategies. Kamel 2008 indicates that there is strong evidence that links direct and explicit comprehension strategy with reading achievement. Even though TCRWP strives to develop agentic and strategic readers, there is not enough guidance in the curriculum for teachers to explicitly or systematically teach students comprehension strategies, such as predicting, using background knowledge to make connections, making inferences, visualizing, identifying narrative and expository text structure, monitoring comprehension, and summarizing, as recommended by Almasy and Hart, 2018. In summary, the units of study for reading works well for strong leaders who thrive in the rich literacy environment promoted by the curriculum. However, struggling readers and English learners need additional support in phonics and language development that isn't adequately provided by the curriculum. Another recommendation would be to include more explicit instruction and comprehension strategies. Since vocabulary instruction also supports comprehension, according to Kamel 2008, there should also be more explicit vocabulary instruction to strengthen the program.
The TCRWP units of study have a strong theoretical foundation in whole language theory and social constructivism. Although the program has elements of behaviorism, we feel that students would be better served with a more developed sequence of skills. As currently designed, the needs of the entire population are not being served. There is an expectation that students can easily learn new materials without the aid of a clearly aligned and well-designed sequence of skill and strategy learning. Our analysis found that the units of study to be severely lacking in regards to culturally responsive educational practices. The program has inadequate representation of historically marginalized students and an overrepresentation of white middle-class perspectives. This lack of representation serves to validate Eurocentric perspectives and empower students who already have the privilege of learning through their cultural vantage point. We recommend including stories that represent a diversity of ethnic groups, since the majority of studied student populations come from diverse backgrounds.